Welcome to another New Spurs Order recording. I'll be your host again, Owen aka X-Pac. Scott Hall, joined by another one of two co-hosts today. Were you just doing the pru in the background there, preempting Sunday?
No, it's a both-faced lie. I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw you doing something that looked a lot like the pru.
Hey, I was doing nothing. I'm both-faced innocent.
Fair enough, man. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Like I said, it's been a good start to the year. It was a good ending to the year, so we kind of get it cracking. But obviously, we're here to discuss Spurs and obviously discuss how nonsensical of a club they are.
And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that. George, how you doing? I'm loving the Spurs memorabilia in the background.
Yeah, I thought I need to try to change the background a bit, add some proper Spurs, 08, 09. Well, not even 08, 09. That shirt's 08, but that one was like 010, 11, innit? But good times, man.
The mansion sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't lie. There was some good moments in that time still.
Good moments.
Very good nostalgia. But all right, let's get into it. Obviously, when they're coming off a North London derby at the Emirates, which only ever really seems to go one way, especially in the league, since 2011 days. Guys, I'll come to you first, I guess, Yao. What did you kind of think about the game, expectation-wise, going into it, without Maddison in the starting lineup and just seeing kind of the state of the squad against an Arsenal side who don't really look too good at the moment, can't really score a goal from open play. Were you confident going into this game?
No, not confident at all. Like, I'm sorry, but I think I'm too much of a realist when it comes to these things. Like, you can't even if we had like a 6-game run of victories, you can't be saying you're confident going into a place that you've got one victory in like 31 attempts. Like, brethren, that's not your home. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, at least now when we go to Old Trafford, there's a sense of confidence because we've had quite a fair number of victories at Old Trafford since over the last decade. Same goes with City. I don't actually fear going up to their tier. I'm like, yeah, these places are comfortable, but Anfield, Emirates, and Stamford Bridge, utter write off, and then sometimes St James's Park, but those 4 stadiums, I don't know what it is about this club. I don't know who banged incredible amount of judge, but we go to the Emirates and I've seen us go to the Emirates off the back of 3 victories and struggle to get a draw. I've seen us go to the Emirates with them having a depleted squad, almost our first 11, and struggle to get anything. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I've seen us go to the Emirates in a cup, win, face the exact same team at the same stadium in the league and get smashed. So I wasn't confident going into it whatsoever. But I did believe that if the players concentrated for 90 minutes, they could get out of the stadium with something. Like, I felt like Arsenal were going to concede. The amount of goals they were going to concede is a question. But I did feel like, yeah, they were going to concede. It's just more of a case of us trying to stop them from conceding. And lo and behold, certain man takes balloons on Saturdays. So,
we'll get into that because I feel like everyone's been very harsh on the balloon man.
No. I don't think anyone's been harsh enough.
Fair. I feel like the whole timeline are after him, to be fair, but we'll see. George, what were your expectations kind of going into the first half, going into the game, and your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, no, I mean, going into the game, I was similar to I was like, I knew that there was a potential that we could get something from this. Like, Arsenal, looking at their previous games, they dropped points against Fulham, Everton, they drew with Man United. These are teams that for Everton and Man United, we've slapped up. Fulham, yeah, they had a decent game against us, but they're all teams that we would expect to beat. So when looking at the way Arsenal set up against them, the way that they played, like, I knew that their attack wasn't that good. It wasn't much to be scared of. So when going into the game, My prediction originally was a 1-1 because I thought we can leave with something, but probably not win here because, like y'all said, we haven't won there in so long, and we're literally going there with the worst team possible. We've got however many injuries, you can't really take confidence into that. But the way that I suppose, went into that first half and how the game started, I wasn't too mad. Like I thought, yeah, we're gonna. I thought to get tight, get deep, try and get compact at the back. I thought that was a good start and a good game plan because there's no point with the players we have to try go at Arsenal. It was never going to be a good choice. Arsenal play when they want to play football, they can play football. Maybe not attacking, but they can keep the ball well and they're going to retain possession a lot because they've got good players on the ball. But as we saw, I think what it was is we were just too passive. The team, when they did try to build out, we had the problems. Kingsley, he was just, the pressure got to him. The moment, I don't know, first North London derby, first proper away game, you'd say. I think he probably just looked around at the stadium, the amount of away fans there were, the noise, everything. I think the moment just got to him. So you saw in those times when he was getting that pressure and those players were closing him down, I think it was just there was no one there to chat to him and get into his ear and be like, look, forget about everything, all the outside noise, just focus, play a quick game. Like there was no one there talking to him. We lack leaders. We lack leaders. That bred into the rest of the team because you saw Dragusin doing the same thing at the back, holding on to the ball. And then Kinski's starting to make bad passes. He's putting Jed Spence under pressure. And it's just, it wasn't a good start. It wasn't a good start. And as we all get on to the mistakes, man, it's typical with Spurs. I feel like going into the game, I was like, the one way Arsenal, because Arsenal don't attack well, they don't create open chances for their team, but they was always going to score from either a set piece or a Spurs mistake. And lo and behold, they had literally both of them. They had both of them. We gave them the game. As we've done in most games, we give teams goals and then ultimately it's our own faults for losing.
Do you know what? I might turn that verbal typo into a pod title because Kinky Kinski is actually a quality name, especially for how he plays.
But that's what I called him the other day, Kinky, man. It's just,
it's very close to be fair.
I will I'll move on swiftly though. Yeah, I actually didn't mind the first half. Like I knew we got penned in for like the first 20-25 minutes and we just looked like we had no way of getting out, but we didn't really look like conceding all that much apart from the amount of corners we conceded. I think it was like 4 or 5 in the space of that like first 15-20 minutes. Other than that, like I didn't really feel like we were under threat apart from when Sterling got slid in like 1v1, but he just didn't really look confident. And then we started to get a bit of a kind of a pressure release when Sarr realised he could just run at Partey and he wasn't going to do anything. So we managed to get in on our right-hand side a few times. And then we had a spell where we created a few chances and I actually felt quite good. I'm like, okay, it's a circumstantial game plan. Yes, our centre midfielders are hiding out in wide areas, but we seem to at least be defending well. And we're going to just have to be clinical in our moments. And then we looked like we were. Son scored a fairly good goal. And I thought, okay, like as long as we get to half time and we're not at least losing, I'm quietly confident we can get something from this game. Like before the game, I wouldn't have taken a draw. Like just seeing how Arsenal were and seeing like, okay, yeah, we're not great, but we've still got much better goal threat. I felt confident, like kind of just seeing the half out, and then it was. I don't want to clutch at straws with the refereeing decision, but that was harsh. Obviously, we're all going to mention it, but the referee was looking right at it, and then you just kind of knew when that set piece coach got up and started whispering in parcel tongue in Arteta's ear, like, okay, this one's going to be a bit different.
That was annoying me, you know. I was thinking, like, why is this side character trying to come in and acting like this is his team coming out here on the sidelines, touchline, doing up all drills? Like, Since when did a set piece coach ever have that much involvement? They should sit down and do your job,
But
bro.
they scored bare goals. If he wants to have his time to shine, let man have his
Honestly,
time.
it's a weird thing. I'm always conflicted with that because I heard Gary Neville like, oh, he's the most annoying man in football, and I'm going to double down on this opinion. He just annoys me. But at the same time, like, if I'm the best in the world in my job, you couldn't say anything to me ever, and you're gonna, yeah, you are gonna know about it, and I would be completely shameless with it too. So, yeah, he probably is the best set piece coach in the world at the moment. Just reflective on how many goals Arsenal are just scoring from it and over relying on it. But I just kind of knew. I just had a bad feeling, and I hate Gabriel so much.
That's a real defender. As much as people were cussing him when he first arrived, once he acclimatized, like it's astonishing how much he just doesn't give up. He doesn't quit whatsoever. Yeah, like Arsenal could be 2-1 down with like 4 minutes to go. If a corner comes, he is attacking that. Like what he did in that first half, the clearance for the ball that Spence played.
Yeah.
And so if that hits Solanke's toe, I believe it goes in the back of the net. Like that for me was like, all right, Spurs don't have that. Yeah. And this is my biggest problem with us as a club. Not just players, just the club, the mentality in the club. There is sometimes in games like this, yeah, you need man to just show the other team we're not gonna get bullied. Like, I don't care how this goes down. I don't even care if you man win. We are not going to be bullied. And so what you find is Newcastle, for argument, I'll use Newcastle as a basis. Newcastle on paper might not have a better team than Arsenal. You know, you could argue a few players here and there, but on paper they won't have a better team. But because they got a man that will just take you to Arkham Asylum without any sort of questions, yeah, in their midfield, all of a sudden it becomes a tussle. And then if they go 1-0 up against you, it's a real fight now. It's an actual genuine dogfight because the men are not gonna let it, like, you're not just gonna stroll through their midfield like you would with us. I don't understand that first half. We took the lead. We didn't look particularly good, but we took the lead. And you could kind of argue that, all right, yeah, we're fortunate to be in the lead, but we did have chances, like the chance with Kulu, the clearance for Solanke. Like there was, three chances there in that first half where on another day maybe it goes in the back of the net, maybe you're a bit lucky. But then I started to see it. I was like, yo, this midfield is missing. Anytime Arsenal really attacked or counter-attacked, even though they went wide, yeah, like I don't understand why. Like Saar, he's supposed to have an engine. He hasn't had one this season. Flipping Basuma, that ship is done. Yeah, I don't know what happened to this youth after his suspensions, and then he went and caught malaria, but clearly he hasn't recovered from it because it's done. Like the ship is done. Yeah, like that. Right now we're at this point in the season with 11 defeats. We're at the point of the season where it's clapped, in it. Call it a day. The season is clapped. I don't believe in none of these players to have any sort of fight to recover it or make it even salvageable where it's respectable. So clap the season. As far as I'm concerned, put Gray, Bergvall, and somebody else in the midfield. You take your pick, Madison or Kudu. I don't really care. It's now experimental time. I've got no time to be. Let me make this very clear so George and everybody else in the world understands. Let me come close so you man understand. I'm not coming to the stadium for one particular reason, because if I see Basuma in that starting lineup again after what I just saw at that North London derby, he ain't gonna make it at the stadium. So it's best that I don't go there, because I'm the kind of man that will tell a man to his face, you're crap. Like I'll write off your whole bloodline. I'll say anyone with your last name, anybody that's named Basuma, they're dead food. They're dry. Yeah, don't go home. Don't do nothing. You're complete utter. Anyone that's named Postecoglou, dry. Dead food. You can't even do kick-ups. I've got no time for none of this. Right now, we're at a point where, let me give you the statistics of how mad this is. Spurs have had 11 defeats in this season. But listen to this. Listen to how mad this is. Spurs have had 11 defeats this season, but have only conceded 9, apparently, in away games.
I think that was before the Arsenal
That was
game.
before the Arsenal game, but we
Before
have
the-
literally the best away record. I think.
How can you statistically have the best away record just on record?
Goals conceded wise, yeah.
But you've had 11 defeats, bruv. I haven't seen this amount of defeats in January since the Harry Redknapp days, and I know when he took over. I haven't seen this amount of defeats since 97, 98. Do you know what we were doing that season? Do you know where we was that season? Man are telling me, I've had Spurs fans, and I said it from the start of the season, and it's going to continue to the end of the season. I said I'm coming after a lot of Spurs fans this season because man are showing me, or they showed me during pre-season, that they have no shame. They have no shame. So I'm here to bring shame to you. I don't want to hear man tell me, oh, yeah, the season's over. We should just concentrate on the cups. If we finish 10th and win a cup, it'll be like we can build from there. Big man, go and check every single cup Spurs have won since 91. Go check our league position. We've been here before. We ain't gone nowhere. Yeah, that's not how you build. We know what this club is like. If we win a cup and finish 10th, you know who they're going to purchase? Another Richarlison. They're not going to go out there and purchase a serious.
The thing is, though, you've got to take into consideration that there has been change, man. There's been change from.
I don't care for the change.
I know that you might not care, but you have to acknowledge the fact that the same things can't continue to happen, and it's not going to continue to happen unless there is change. There's been change to recruitment structure, so we've got to allow the recruitment structure to play out. Do I think that Spurs are making play out?
You're saying it's got to play out, yeah? But let me ask you this, you know, because we're having therapy. We're here to diagnose therapy for the people there. You get me, bruv? Let me ask you this: we've had the same chairman for 20 plus years, yeah, correct?
24 years or something. Yeah,
24 years. In that time period, yeah, with where would you see in that time period that we had a genuine chance of pushing up? What bracket would you give it? What?
There was only the pot barrel at the time of actually
pushing up. Okay, cool.
Pushing.
So in the Poch era, you felt like, yeah, just a little bit more investment, we can push on, correct?
We could, but we already knew that wasn't going to happen because they've been planning for the stadium since 2011, 2012. We knew that that was just, obviously everything fell to bad time. The club made it very clear they wasn't going to spend money, and lo and behold, they didn't lie about it, bro.
That's fine. They didn't spend no money. So obviously we failed, yeah? So we dropped. So when Mourinho and then Conte came in, what was the excuse then to not spend money?
I don't think that. I'm not. Wait, let me just say, I don't think there's never not excuse to spend money. I think we should be spending money. We're one of the richest clubs in world football.
I forgot about that.
When we talk about Tottenham's in there. We're above most of the Premier League teams. When you talk about revenue and income, Tottenham's above most teams in world.
Best stadium in the world.
There is no excuse as to why we don't spend.
No. There is an excuse.
Not at the moment. We've had this stadium for 8 years now. There's no excuse.
No. But George, I'm here to tell you as a man of pure insight that there is an excuse. And that excuse begins with a D, pause, and ends with an L, pause. His name is Daniel Levy. This man has been, every single season, a report has come out that man's P's have gone up. And I'm like, is this based on the business side? Because it can't be on the football side. Don't be bringing this towards Tottenham Football Club, because on Tottenham Football Club, it's been a travesty. Now let me bring this to everybody's attention. Tottenham Hotspurs went and spent, and this is combined P's, by the way, 110 million on Richard and Johnson. I'm gonna ask everybody, whether man in the chat or man here right now, I'm going to ask you, in the near 2 seasons that we've had Johnson, how many times could you physically remember this guy taking on a fullback and beating him?
I'll leave that one to Owen, because that's
safe.
Safe. I'm going to leave that one to Owen.
Safe.
Fullback and beating him. Not many. Funny enough, he probably predominantly does this when he's on the left. So I don't know why. And I've not been happy with Johnson recently. But where this isn't me just shifting the subject, but where you were like, okay, yeah, we may not be spending money, or what's the excuse here and there? You've just said we spent 110 million on duds, and
No, that was before.
spent a relatively decent amount of money, not great, maybe, but decent to good, I would say. And I think that kind of leans more towards George's point of what he was about to say about kind of the change in how we are on the recruitment side, which has been completely overhauled since the Mourinho days, especially because the Mourinho days, it was Steve Hitchen being a yes man. This is like end of Poch days as well. Steve Hitchen being a yes man, Levy doing most of like the yes and no business, right? Then we started to adapt. We brought in Paratici and co. That's not worked because Paratici is a crook. Although I hear it, we kind of need a crook, but
you need a crook.
He got caught. Yeah, we do. He just got caught, and it's unfortunate. He's apparently still there. I don't know.
There's been pictures down at the stadium with the headphones and stuff. Apparently, he's still working as a consultant.
He's still working as a consultant. He's still got wired headphones. He's locked in. So now we've got Scott Munn, head of football operations. We've now got Langer. There's new head scout whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Don't care. You know why none of this is affecting me right now? You know why I'm still pissed and still annoyed? Because let me ask you guys another question regarding the scouting and the recruiting and all of this jazz. Yeah. Fans get ridiculed for having outlandish thoughts and saying, why can't you go out there and get this man? And why can't you go out there and purchase this player and so on and so forth? And that's fine when the money doesn't make sense. That's perfectly fine when the money doesn't make sense. But Spurs, only Spurs, out of this big six talk, only Spurs can go like, all right, cool. How much money us man got? Yeah, you got 60 mil, yeah? All right, cool. Who we looking at? Oh, there's these players, Gyökeres. Flipping, if you add another 10 million, you might get Isak. But and then Levy will come into the meeting and be like, yeah, that's all nice, but them man are not Premier League proven. That will be the argument. They're not Premier League proven. And then he'll be like, I got something for you, man. He scored 13 goals for Everton. I believe he could do something special here.
This is all Conte, by the way.
Yeah, of course it's Conte. But this is the thing that makes me think. When Spurs spend, this is why we get laughed at. Yeah, when we spend big, all the players that we've predominantly spent big on recently, bar probably Solanke. I know people could probably argue Mickey and Maddison. That's in your own time, to be honest with you, and probably Romero if you want to argue. Hey, like I said, these big purchases, yeah, you can kind of, some of them you can kind of tussle with, some of them you can be like Solanke. I'll be like, that's fine. He's worked. He's kind of shown me that he's got something to his game. But big purchases like Sanchez, Porro, Richard.
Wait, Johnson. Did you say Sanchez?
Yeah, Davison Sanchez. He was 40 million.
Way back. Yeah.
Or even Ndombele, who I tried to give bare time. All of these, man, the floppage that they brought to Spurs is unprecedented. And no other big team, apart from United in recent years, has been this callous. No, doesn't it? We're talking like nearly 200 M spent there alone. No other big team has been this callous. And then you get Spurs fans out there be, oh yeah, we're better off just doing what we used to do in the past. What did we do in the past? Honestly, we waited for teams to get relegated to get like a flipping discount. We ain't got time for that. And like real talk, Andrew's been given all this extra time to turn it around. Let me say something right now. If this man, this is monumentally massive, if this man turns it around and does something incredible, they're going to have to put a statue outside the stadium of this man. If they do, I'm going to tear it down. Yeah, because I will never forget this 11 games that I've just seen. Never. This is ludicrous. We haven't beaten Arsenal in 3 games. We haven't beaten.
Yo, you're not giving no context, man. I can't hear this. I can't let you do this.
I'm drawing to the crowd. You said no context. Correct. Yeah. The context is we've got 10 players out, probably 9 right now. There's a few coming out. 10 players from the first team out. All right, that's the context. Did we not have the same amount last season? Roughly?
No.
Yes,
Similar amounts, but we had them at different times.
Okay,
we lost. Remember, we lost Romero, Van de Ven, and then we lost Maddison in that same Chelsea game.
And
then
Destiny.
We had Destiny around that time. We lost him late.
Lost Destiny in that same
Destiny got
game.
a suspension and then a small injury.
Then but his injury happened a bit like a month or two after. And then Sonny we missed because of Asia Cup, Bissouma because of African Cup of Nations. We missed all these players, but this is what you seem to forget. Our squad was a lot bigger then. We're playing 1 game a week. So, yes, our squad was a lot bigger. And if you look at just our midfield, we sold Lo Celso, we sold Højbjerg, got rid of Skip, and we replaced them with Bergvall and Archie Gray. 2 players, one of which has never even played in midfield for us. So, and Lo Celso and Højbjerg were 2. Fair enough, Lo Celso not so much, but when he did come in, he had very good appearances. We can't take nothing away. When he was available,
you said one has not played in midfield. Who's that down to?
It's down to the manager, but let's be honest here. Without Archie Gray playing centre back, who would be playing centre back right now? So he's played centre back, and he's done a better job than Dragusin.
Archie Gray playing centre back now is by the fact that we've got all these injuries. But when we had the first 2 injuries, and it was Radu and Davis, he was playing this guy left or right. He wasn't even looking at Spence. He didn't even add Spence. This is incompetence.
That's an indictment on his side. 100% for the Spence side. Spence did get that throw in at Coventry, but we have to remember again, Spence got injured. He was coming back from injury, and he was out for about a month. He came back around end of November.
Add Spence to the Europa League squad. That is incompetence. You took 3 goalkeepers and didn't take the one guy that can actually play left or right. He's not a left back, but he can play left or right. I'm sorry to say this here, but everything that Ange has done and the excuses made for him, when you look deep into it, you can be like, all right, fine. Yes, you've got X amount out. But what have you done to actually circumnavigate or reduce the amount of issues you've brought upon yourself? Sometimes it's not about, don't come and show me that you're being stubborn and you're sticking to your ways and all that kind of stuff. That was for the first season. The first season when you're trying
don't
to
don't you think that with where Ange is at right now, there needs to be an understanding, especially from the fan base out of anyone else, that you can't play the football you want with the players available. You can't always sustain. Ange is not in the business of getting the best out of a bad bunch. He's not one of those managers. He's not Sam Allardyce. He's not a Sean Dyche. He's not going to be like, all right, boys, let's get back. We're going to get a result, 0-0 today. If we can get one on the counter, then that's us. He's not doing any of that.
You don't have
he wants to play good football.
No, but you don't have to.
So what he's trying to do is build a squad that can play good football. Right now, he's adapted in some of those games, but the quality is just not there.
Okay, but then again, I didn't say that he has.
And then also, wait, what you haven't mentioned is our biggest players, the ones that were supposed to be relied upon at times. They've not been good enough. They've regressed this season. His all-round games regressed this season. Pedro Porro. The only reason I want to give him some grace because he's played the most minutes in the league. I do think he's been shit. He's been absolutely shit. But I do think there needs to be a little bit of grace because he's played more than anyone in our team. He's literally played every other minute. So there is a point of
Porro's the biggest strength.
But I've said, I'm willing to let him go because I don't think he's got football. He's not a football up there. He's brain dead. When it comes to defending, he doesn't know what he's doing.
So this Porro. So you're saying Porro is brain dead, yeah? All right, cool. No,
brain dead. And then moving on, Bissouma. No one expected Bissouma to regress so much.
Who's at fault for Porro starting all these games?
Nah, don't do that. Porro was gonna start. Porro's not a bad player. We're not gonna paint him to be shit. He's not shit. The guy's got like 4 goals, 9 assists. He's won games for us.
4 goals in it. Okay,
I know, but he's won. Just like he's lost points for us, he has picked up points for us. You can't discount
the points that he picked up for us.
Oh, bro, now you've got me trying to remember all of his assists and them things. Come on, man.
You know what? You know why I'm asking you, George? You know why I'm actually asking you? It's not all that stuff that you're saying. Yeah, fine.
I'm not a Porro defender, by the way. I call out Porro every week.
No, I know you're not because I know
Porro's not a Porro defender.
So I know you're not a Porro defender, yeah? But let me explain this to you. A manager is in a position where he's looking at his squad, he's seeing them in training. But what you see in training and what you see on the pitch are 2 different things. So you have to analyze your opponents and be like, all right, where's their strong suit? What are they good at? Yeah. A lot of the teams look at us and they're like, you know what? If you're on the right wing and you cut onto your left or you cut onto your right, hang it back post. or curve it back post. You know why? Because this guy's not going to be here. He's not going to be here to assist the right side centre back. He's going to be dilly-dallying, or he's going to be ball watching. So when you look at a lot of teams that face us, even the teams in Europe, they absolutely maraud our right-hand side. They go disgustingly one-sided, all against us. Yeah. And all it takes is for man to be switched off 1 or 2 times in a game, and we are in hell. And that is unacceptable. So as a manager, with all that information that you know, logic will tell you, all right, cool. You know what? He's not the most defensive-minded right back. In games where we are dominant or dominating the ball, yeah, like so City away, we can dominate at times. United, we definitely dominate on the ball. Southampton, even those kind of games, play Porro, yeah. And this is what I mean by like managers of the old, as opposed to managers of today. Managers of today, they want to be like the Southampton manager, for argument's sake. What a stupid guy! The man's like, I'm going to play my way. I'm going to play my way. I'm going to play. Now you're sacked. Yeah, you were sacked before Christmas. Your kids are all looking at you like, Dad, why are you at home? Because you're a fool. When logic will tell you, just let me not be so stubborn and be just absolutely ridiculed to my plan. And even if you don't change your style, change the personnel to make your style suffice. Nobody would.
If you don't have much options? That's the point, though. What about if there's not many options there to make those changes?
Did he have to play Spence?
The thing is, though, this is what I don't like, though. The Spence stuff. He's looking good, really. He's looking really good recently.
He's had a good run of games.
This is all new news because no one watched him last season when he had the little minutes at Renzo going, oh, he's pulling up trees over there. We need Spence. Spence is going to change us. No one expected this like little rise from Spence and how good he's been. And
we did see it in pre-season.
Actually, we saw it in pre-season.
We saw that he has the ability. We saw that just like Bergvall looked amazing in pre-season. Then for the first 4 months of this year, didn't really look great. Didn't really look great. No, but what my point is that even with Spence, like I think he's been great. He's been flawless in most of the last couple of games. But once he actually gets a proper run in the team, he probably will get to a point where he's like Pedro Porro. He's making mistakes. He's now got more responsibility. He's going to start conceding goals, and the people are going to start looking at him differently. Right now, it's just because he's the new shiny toy. People are like, "Oh, Spence is here. He's way better than Porro." Like, no, he's looked really good recently, but he's just been new. He's a new kid on the block. That's what it is, right?
You don't trust Dragusin as a right-sided centre back? Okay, cool.
Porro and Dragusin together is terrorist football.
Okay, so Romero is the better right centre back. Fair to say?
Way better.
Far better defensively. We still concede a horrid amount of goals with him and Porro on the side.
Because he's just like Porro, lapses in concentration, consistent.
Okay. So you can't, if you as a manager, like, all right, fine. This doesn't mean that Spence doesn't have lapses of concentration. It basically means which one of these players, in a 90-minute game will give you 60 minutes of concentration. Because I promise you, Porro doesn't even break 30. And when the stat came in the group, that this man had 45 possession losses against Tamworth, I said, listen, if everything inside of me doesn't know what to do to control myself, I was literally seconds away from calling it quits and ending the stream, Jeff. Let me make it clear to every single Spurs fan on this earth. We can never celebrate anything that this club does so long as Porro, Jason Derulo, and flipping Balloon you remains in this club. Yeah?
No, I agree. When I literally said, when I tweeted,
I'm not celebrating.
My tweet was literally that. I wanted Bissouma, Pedro Porro. I said Dragusin as well because I've seen enough of the Dragon, man. There's nothing there from that guy's game that gives me any hope that he can get better. But no, I agree. Pedro Porro, I'm more than willing to, wipe my hands. Next season, let's start again. And let's bring in another right back. Challenge Spence. Both of them two can go at it. Because like you said, Porro's defensive deficiencies, I don't think they're going to get any better. I remember when we were having these conversations, Ash especially, I remember I used to have these conversations with him when we were signing him. He's going, bro, this guy can't defend. Even at Sporting, he can't defend. He's never marking his man. Back post, he's just poor. And he's a wing back. He's a wing back by trade. He was a winger for City that got forced to play wing back. And now he's being told to play fullback. And that's why you see when he gets that that chance to bomb forward, Ange let him think that he's a cam. Ange made him think that he's a number 10. So when you're seeing him in these positions, you saw, and you asked, why is he taking a shot in the 94th minute from these cute angles, bro? What's going on? Why is he got the responsibility to? Why is he even allowed to do that? He shouldn't be allowed. But you got James Maddison shying away from the responsibility to turn up yet again. You know, he's just on the pitch strolling around. He's just there to have fun, just to be a part of the team, you know, to hug everyone, darts, you know, just chat to everyone, be the face of Spurs. He said, you know, when he got the 10, he had the cheek. When they gave him the 10, they said, oh, it's a big shirt to fill. Nah, it's a medium. You know, like tried to play it down. He didn't do shit. He should honestly. That's another one actually. I've been telling Tobes he needs to let go of his boy because Madders is done.
He was all right against Arsenal, I thought.
Finish. No chance. People think he looks good because he looks nice on the ball. That's it. He looks fancy on the ball. He does a couple good passes. I get why he should. I said that he should have started that game because he would have added some midfield balance. But still, we signed Maddison to be a superstar. We didn't sign him to come in like man's been signed to the roster. He got the call up from ECW to come to Raw, and he's trying to get United States Championship. What the fuck is going on, bro? You're keen to get the big boy pay-per-view thing, and he's all here trying to hide away in the shadows. I'm not here for it. I when we bought Maddison, I was convinced this guy's going to be competing with the De Bruynes, the Fodens, the Odegaard, the best creative midfielders in the Prem. He's far from it. He's got his chain snatched by Kulu already, and Bergvall's this close to snatching his last chain that he's got left, and he's going to be left to rot away on the bench. Maddison's done for me, honestly. I've seen enough of him as well.
You know what hurts me the most? I've been onto this individual for a minute, but I tried to play it off, and just to make everyone clear, I'm not celebrating if we finish 10th and win a trophy. You can go to hell. I have some shit. I'm not coming to no parade.
What about Europa League though?
Europa League on what? 10th.
So that's a big trophy.
Europa League and 10th. I might consider it. Yeah, I'll see if it's Carnival. If it's Europa League, and the Carabao, I might tussle, yeah. But if it's just Europa League, I'm gonna be vexed. Somebody still has to get shot. But
Carabao Cup gets us banter and barely 100k in prize money. Europa League is a bigger prestige trophy and gets us Champions League.
It's a joke thing. But for me, the one player that honestly, the prophecies come true. I never wanted it to be the case for this guy, but the prophecy has come true. At 32 years of age, when his father saw him at the hospital, he said, "This one here, he's not world class. He's going to be a Fazio. He's going to let everybody down. This is not a leader." That's what his father said. Yeah. 32 years later, everyone thought the prophecy was a lie, and then all of a sudden, it came true. Son, your father was telling the truth. You are a muck, bruv. You're not a captain. This right here, I don't want to see no bands around your arm here. No bands. You're a real muck. I don't understand this. You mean to tell me you've been in this country for a whole decade? You don't have no shit. We were losing, and you didn't want to kick nobody in the face. You didn't want to Roy Keane, Vieira, nobody. Man scored a goal. Let me make this very clear to everybody. Son done nothing in this game. He scored a goal and told the crowd to shush at 25 minutes. Do you know what stadium we were in? Have some damn shame.
He can't win. He cannot win.
His man to be.
He cannot win with you. It's harsh.
What he should have done is turn to the players and be like, "It's time. It's 0-0. Concentrate, please." Yeah,
I agree with him. We've gone 1-0 up far too many times this season. Like they should have learned from this. Like
learn from your mistakes.
We've gone 1-0 up like 12 times this season and lost, or something like that, isn't it?
Well, we've dropped 18 points from going 1-0 up. This is embarrassing. Have some shame. Yeah. So as I said, I'm making it very clear to everybody. Son, you may be captain of Spurs, but you're not my captain. Your dad was right. I even think your mum was right. I think your mum knew she was pushing out a muck. Yeah, that's why she probably didn't scream, Rev. Yo, Fazio, like I'm done with this whole thing. Like, honestly, This carry job that we're doing is nonsense. You mean to tell me we have a system in which it needs your wingers to be capable of going one-on-one with the great one, and neither one of them can do this. Explain it to me. Explain it to me. You couldn't name me. Owen, you're a Johnson fan. You're a Johnson fan. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Owen, you're a Johnson fan. You and Tobias Tubes are Johnson fans, yeah? And both of you shout out Johnson whenever he's Johnson in caps lock. You man do this in caps lock whenever this guy scores. You can't tell me when he's taken on anybody. Son himself at 32 years of age, he's there standing, gets the ball, passes it off the field, gets the ball, gives it back to a youngster. What kind of nonsense is this? What kind of club is this that you're meant to have wingers that take on players and they don't do that? So Solanke's now standing there like, bro, I have to wait for a Super Bowl to come in for me to try and get something. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to lie to you, man. With the games left this season and how thin the squad is and all the competitions that we're in, by the end of February, we could be looking at 15 defeats.
Yeah, probably. I want to circle back a little bit because we've just gone to Son's goal again. We haven't even finished talking about the Arsenal game. On Johnson, just quickly as well. Whenever you're trading or do anything like that, or when it's crypto, when you've got the highest amount of stock possible, you reach that point of euphoria, you sell it off. And I'm probably at that point unless he deletes his social media again. But yeah, it's quite frustrating when you see him in the second half against Arsenal as well. And isn't obviously the first game when he picks up the ball. There's actually space to drive into. Like, he's not even being engaged, but he doesn't at least like try and force an issue. Like, all he has to do is just kind of knock it 10 yards in front of him and try and run onto it. That would technically count as a take on. It doesn't look great, but it kind of like it adds to, well, it complements his attributes. Like, he's quite fast, he's strong. At least try that. And he's just going back.
Who did you say was strong?
Johnson, he's quite big.
Jesus Christ.
He's stronger than Lewis Skelly.
I don't think
he's stronger than Lewis Skelly.
No way.
Lewis Skelly's like half his size.
It doesn't matter.
Lewis Skelly shifted Kulu off the ball once or twice.
It doesn't matter, bro. Let me tell you
what?
Johnson,
20% Kulu.
Johnson is weaker than Tobias's shot. Like, he's got nothing in the tank. Please don't ever do that again. Do not do that. Yeah, don't do that. Strength. You must think this is an edited play on Pez, bro. Don't ever do that again, bro. He's got no strength. Yeah.
He's literally assisted quite a few goals for us purely just out of like pressing people, forcing and to turn over the ball, and then just lining up a shameless assist off it, which I will play.
I think his passes are mistakes. I think he's trying to give it back to the midfield.
He must be top goal scorer by mistake as well.
That's fine. I mean, most of those goals.
When you look at that performance of him, and it's just like yet another game where he does absolutely nothing.
It was terrible.
And it's literally that. If you probably look at the stats, it's like no take-ons, no dribbles completed. You know, it's a winger and he's got no shot creating actions. Like, there's nothing about his game apart from arriving on the edge of the box at the right time or making the movement to off the flank when the other winger's on that side. Like, there's nothing else to his game apart from running the back post. Like, he's not a good player whatsoever. I think Adam realized this to some extent, and he's tried to bring in, you know, the likes of Mikey Moore, the Odeberts, and tried to work them into the team, but they've not had long runs of games, and so they've not been able to use them. But I think eventually, like, once we get towards the end of the season, I don't think we see much of Johnson apart from bench appearances.
So outside of goals, what difference is Johnson to Timo?
There is no difference.
Not really much. He's more technically secure than Timo, but I'm not gonna.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah,
technically secure. I've seen Johnson receive a ball with nobody crossing within 10 yards and it go off the pitch.
Yeah, that once. When it does that like 3 times a game.
Yeah, but
the thing is, I think Werner actually has confidence though. The one thing I'll give it to Werner is he actually thinks he's going to do something. So he'll take his man on, beat him once or twice, but then just be shit with the final end product. But like, Johnson doesn't even try to take his man on. That's where the issue is, because there's been time. Remember, there was one time in particular this season where we was going to be on a counter. He had all the space in front of him. He starts to run, and he turns back. And I was in the stadium for that, and I was just like, what is this guy on? Like, he's anti-football, bro. This is anti-attacker.
Yeah. I see what this Adam guy means. He's definitely got more confidence than Johnson. I'd say that. But yeah, anyway, we'll have to see how it plays out. I think he's injured now anyway. So
yeah, who's injured?
Johnson.
And Johnson. A calf issue. He's going to be evaluated, but it said Werner's out for definitely 3 to 4 weeks.
So
good.
So Werner's out for 3 to 4 weeks. Johnson's got a calf issue.
Yeah, but he hasn't said that it's being assessed, so it might be one of those like day-to-day ones.
Has he gone to a hospital to get checked out? Could you tell us what hospital it might be, so that
I don't have a clue. That's it.
Okay. No, nobody knows. Okay. If anybody in the chat knows, please just we just want to make sure that he's okay, because he's one of our players, and I just want to make sure that Johnson's capable of walking at some point.
Let's wrap up the Arsenal game. So someone in the comments was saying like, "Oh, Ange's rest defense is awful," etc., etc. And to be fair, I still think our rest defense is much better than last season. League position definitely doesn't reflect it. And then you've just got Arsenal that have just equalised against us. Bissouma then turns over the ball. And I just see, okay, Havertz is up there. Trossard's barely even over the halfway line, and we've still got 3-4 people in favourable positions. Like, that goal, I think, is just a cataclysmic reaction and just dropping your heads to conceding an own goal from a corner. Sarr could have been closer for me. Porro was a little bit behind Trossard, but could have made up the ground. Dragusin, poor, but still managed to just keep him to shooting on his slightly unfavoured foot and unfavoured angle. And then Kinky Kinski let it in poorly. So as soon as that goal went in, like, I can't lie, I was just too deflated to think that we were going to get anything from it, because it was just such a poor lapse in concentration, a poor lapse and of a goal to concede. And after that, I feel like that game just kind of petered out to nothing, and we didn't even really look threatening, to be honest. But yeah, are we still all blaming Bissouma on that one, or is there?
Yeah, there was a bunch of bad mistakes, but it was Bissouma. It started with Bissouma, and it was a simple 1-2, man. Literally, the worst thing is, if you give the ball to Spence, he's got acres of space in front of. He would have been in the box within 2-3 touches, because that's how quick Spence, and that's how much he covers ground.
Like, it's legitimately a simple 1-2. Nobody told him to turn around back towards Highbury. Nobody told him to do that.
I can see why he did it.
Why?
In the last few games, all we've done is just spam it to Jed Spence in build-up and just use him to like bail us out of the situation. Though. And he did, and he's just decided to decoy him once. He's in a position where he's asked to take all the risks. All the Sixers in the world make these mistakes, and you've got a good team which backs up their player in situations like this for a player playing this kind of role. And I just feel like the rest of the team let him down, where it was one of the only times one of our centre midfielders were brave enough to receive it in the middle of the pitch. Like, that just didn't seem to happen all half. And there was just no contingency plan for him to potentially turn the ball over. There was no other options other than Spence either. Like, I feel like Sarr could have been close to Solanke.
That's the nonsense there. If
I don't know where
no other option, you don't need to. You've already seen that your opponents are good at pressing you. You don't need to create anything out of that. That is a situation where he's not checked his mirrors. Again, all these players, they're not checking their mirrors. Man, when he even turned, he could see that Partey was there, and he's still trying to think, yeah, I can push on and go past. Brethren, get rid of the ball. Just get rid of it. I would have rather he panicked and just cleared it. Or tried to launch it. I would have rather that, because at least Porro wasn't so far out of position. Yes, Sarr should have got back. In terms of the goal, after the turnover, yeah, Sarr should have definitely got back. Dragusin should have engaged. All of that should have happened. But Basuma has put us in that position because the momentum was going this way, and all of a sudden, while everyone's running this way, not looking, the ball's going back that way. And man, I'm like, how did that happen? When? He's a fool. Then get this balloon Fascio out of my club, bro. I've had enough. And his haircut was dead as well. What kind of trim was that?
Just hair out hanging. And that the thing is with Basuma is it's not like it's been 6 months, 18 months. It's been nearly 2.5. This is third season in a Spurs shirt. This is bro, we've had enough. Like we've seen more than enough to know that he's not going to improve. He's this move to Spurs has just not worked out. 25 million.
He's been good recently as well, though.
I think he had a good game against Liverpool. That's it. Like that's it. He's had, and I think outside of that, he's had 3 or 4 games in the season.
Not disciplined enough.
That's it. Like he's not disciplined enough. Gives away poor fouls constantly. He's the type of player that again gets red cards, gets yellow cards, and when you're on a yellow card early in the game, like the Liverpool one, to be fair, he was on a yellow card from like 10 minutes in. Like then you got to play the rest of the game, and I'm just sitting there worrying, waiting for us to go down to 10 men because I know he's lunging into challenge after challenge. He's not the player that we need. He's not not even a 6. Like that's the big issue. He's not a 6.
This is on Ange putting him there, to be fair, but
if he's an 8, but he's not. He's our worst 8. I think he's the worst one. He's not better than Bentancur. He's not better than Sarr. And Bergvall right now is doing a pretty damn good job. So I don't think
he's better than Sarr.
I don't know, man. I like Sarr.
It's questionable.
I do too.
He's been a bit poor this season, and that's another one, though. I think Sarr's not progressed. Last year, he was one of our best midfielders, but he's not progressed.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Sarr's had a very inconsistent season. Like, but Sarr in Europe has actually, for me, he's been pretty good. Yeah, but in the league, he's been poor, like really poor. There's been a few games where he's like been good, but for the most part, now he's been poor.
Yeah, I was saying to Tops on the podcast probably about a month ago. Actually, I was like, okay, the only area we don't seem to be getting any injuries at the moment, apart from like, okay, the Bentancur suspension. So we don't really seem to have unavailability in midfield. But Ange still doesn't seem to have like a set kind of midfield composition. Like he's chopping and changing it almost every game. So I was just like, let's just get some contingency. Our best combination at the moment probably looks to be Bissouma and Sarr together, double pivot. Maddison operating slightly ahead, and then Kulusevski comes in off the right, and you can kind of create this kind of box of really good technical ability. But he just kept on chopping and changing it. And this is when Bentancur was kind of just starting his suspension as well. More than happy for him to come in for Sarr, to be fair. I don't know what's going on with this concussion of his, but like that was, I just wanted to see, like the overarching thing for me was whatever you pick, just kind of stick to it for like 70-80% of games as like a starting midfield composition. And then you get some continuity and familiarity and like good performances, but we just chop and change it so much. And then I listened to another Spurs podcast today, essentially saying the same thing, but obviously now a month on. And it's just, I don't know, there's just simple common sense things which are staring Ange in the face. Outside of the squad rotation, outside of the instructions to ask players just to kind of get their foot on the ball a bit more, just to control the tempo a bit. And it's just another thing with the chopping and changing of midfield, which just does not give him a good enough platform in which to try and work through what is a difficult period. Again, this isn't like a huge like Ange out thing. Like I'm still kind of leaning towards like, okay, we have to kind of see what he does over the course of the season, but I can't really criticize certain midfield performances too much when they're kind of just set up and put in a position where it's more favourable to fail than succeed. Especially Bergvall at 6, like, practically on his own as well. Like, yes, he did relatively well, but I mean, like, how is that a good enough platform to expect someone to succeed? Because for me, it's not.
Yeah, no, I don't think Bergvall on a 6 works for me. I don't think it works. He's got.
No, I think you have to play him alongside somebody. So I could see Bergvall, and I could see a midfield free. For me personally, and especially going off the back of this nonsense, I wouldn't even play a necessary midfield free. I'd play like a lopsided box of a 4. So I'd have Maddison and Kulu as your split 10s. So Maddison can be more of the box-to-box kind of 10. Kulu can be your more right-hand side to middle of the field kind of 10. Free roll, in a sense. And then I'll play Bentancur and Bergvall. But lo and behold, that's not going to happen, bro, because we've got this stupid fool at our club.
No, I do agree. I think that he has to look into it. I suppose with Ange, one thing he's not going to do is change the formation. But if he did want to look into formation changes to match the team and try and get the best start, that 4-2-2-2 probably the best option to look at, because you can play Sonny in the middle and just have him sort of drifting in behind Solanke,
just split him
and just splitting him. Yeah. And then
it doesn't actually stop you from still being a 4-3-3. It's just, this is your starting position, and you 4 attackers. So Kulu, Maddison, Solanke, and say Son, free reign. Just move around. Yeah, like don't be so rigid. Now the system is rigid. We've got wingers that don't take on. And Son's a mongoose.
Well, we're in the January window now. We can and have sort of tried to make changes and moves, but Ange came out even at the start of the window like, look, we've only got this and that many first team players, so we need help right away. He was suggesting that, oh yeah, we're going to get help for our forward line very soon, and it's going to be the 18th of January at the time of this pod being released on the audio form. 17th today, and nothing's happened in terms of outfield players. So what would be a priority for you guys? Because we're seeing Hanchko, who looks like he might have profiled well for us, go to Juventus, and Kolo Muani is probably also going to go to Juventus if they sort out the loan move. So what can we do? We
can do absolutely nothing. Yeah. I don't listen. We've bought one goalkeeper that we kind of needed anyway at the beginning of the window, and then we just regressed to typical old Spurs. It's just a bunch of lies, bro. We're not going to make moves for another week, and if we make any move, and the club will come out and say we tried, but all our attempts, they went elsewhere. That's what they're going to do. It's like it happens every single time. It happens to every single manager. I don't know why people don't just go and the only reason why they generally haven't even sacked Ange is because last season was probably the first season ever that I can remember fans singing directly to Daniel Levy, to like get out of the club. Like, so he's like, yeah, now we're gonna spend. Yeah, all right. So you spent, but you don't stop spending. Like City had 6 defeats. Flipping Pep's wife says she's ready to leave. Man scratching his cranium, and they've gone and spent 200 million. I'm not saying Spurs have to spend 200 million, but all you spent this window is 15. You can't spend a young 80 to get us out of this mud. We need players, bruv.
Yeah, man. I would love us to kind of prioritize a defender. I think even aside from this kind of injury crisis, whether it's unlucky or not, signing a defender then frees up Archie Gray to play in midfield. So then you've bolstered that back again. And we've already got forward players coming back, who have come back from injuries and illness already. Mikey Moore and Richarlison. Again, don't have to rate them, but they're there now. And we don't seem to have really been linked with anyone apart from agent talk of Skriniar joining on loan, which obviously isn't going to happen because of the whole PSG thing anyway. And it's just a shame we haven't looked to have been proactive and used any kind of initiative in the market. Again, I would not even care about a loan for an unfavored player at another club, but we just need a capable body to help us through. Ideally, someone we can register as well. So
we need to get someone that's going to be here for a long term. We shouldn't be trying to sign players for 3 months or players that are just going to fill in for now. That's not what we need. We need players that are going to be here for this system that is going to improve the team, not just this season, but next, actually come in to compete like a Kinski. We need players of those mold who actually want to come in and they are going to compete for their position. And they're not just young and unproven, because look, the Kinski one made sense because we've got a proven goalkeeper already, but when are we gonna bring in, I don't know, another proven centre mid to try battle? Like Douglas Luiz is the player we should be looking at right now. Douglas Luiz is available here from Juventus. They're trying to get rid of players. He's played in the Premier League. He's all action number 8, so he could do the defensive role. He can do the forward role, set piece. Like he's everything we need right now. But Spurs aren't looking to make these deals happen because it's probably going to come with a £35 million fee or something. They're just trying to scrounge around, trying to find the opportunities for loans, and it's just bullshit at this point because we're 17 days into window and just talking about in his press conferences, yeah, the club's doing as much as they can, which you're just feeding us rubbish that we've heard every fucking window for the last 20 years. The club's doing as much as they can. They're doing as much as they can. No, they're not doing as much as they can. They're sitting around playing with their fucking asses yet again because they don't want to spend money. Like, when are they going to come out and actually do something? He said, oh, yeah, we're hoping to try bring guys in this week. Bro, there's 2 days left of the week. What do you mean you're hoping to bring someone in? They either come in or they're fucking not. Like, why is it only with Spurs that it takes 3 to 4 weeks, or not even 5 weeks to 6 weeks? Every player we sign's got a notice period. It's always a 4 to 6 week signing. Like, we've got to be negotiating with them with their contract for very long. Like, it's only Spurs that these things happen.
Yeah. So are you ending?
Yeah, I'm Anjin. I'm for the project, bro. I'm in this project, and I'm like, do you know what? Give him the players to play out the project. That's where I'm at right now because the club's saying they're backing him. Cool. Show us you're backing him then, and actually back the manager. Because
can I ask you a question then?
Go on.
You got a company, yeah? This is a hypothetical question. You got a company, and you know there's young buck managers and older managers out there, but you want experience. You want man that have been, you know, they got experience. At your company, would you hire man that are 4 years away from retirement?
No.
To oversee a project?
To oversee a project?
Yeah.
No, I get what you're getting at, man. Huh? He's not that old, man. He's not that old.
he's like 60 years of age. The man is old, bro. Like,
no, but let's be real, yeah. In modern day football, you don't ever plan to have a manager for 8, 9, 10 years. It just doesn't happen.
You would hope so.
Nah, but even still, like I feel like even as we saw with Klopp, that's the best case scenario, a Klopp or a Pep. You get 8 to 9 years, and even those 8 years are stressful, bro. Like being with one manager for 8 years is hard. So I think even in Tottenham are always planning that this is going to be a 4 to 6 year project, maybe at best. At best, it's a 4 to 6 year project, and within that time frame, Spurs go up and eventually come back down, and they're going to need someone to take us up. With Ange, I just think that Spurs right now are just leaving us in like the midst of, you're not going to. It's a youth project, but it's not a youth project because they didn't go all the way youth, and they're not telling us it's a youth project. But then they're saying they're backing the manager, but they're not backing the manager with his players, and they're just expecting him to get something out. So the fans are just here, we're all here arguing with each other, Ange in, Ange out, Ange in, Ange out, when the real problems, obviously, as we know, it's upstairs, bruv. Upstairs don't make it clear to us. We don't even know what the project is for Spurs right now because Ange will come out and tell us, a lot in summer window, we were focusing on getting younger players, but now we're trying to raise the profile of the team. We're trying to raise the experience in the team and aim and get players that are more proven. Okay, but I haven't seen it. Kolo Muani's not proven. So if you're telling me we're looking at Kolo Muani, that doesn't go by the transfer strategy you said. So it's constantly hypocritical stuff there. And it's always going back and forth on the word. It's typical Spurs. Let's be honest. This is typical Spurs.
So would you say it's fair to say that, all right, fine, this season might have not gone according to plan, but in the summer, what did the club do to change that? Because the reason I asked that is because Johnson is an Ange buy. He wanted Johnson.
Yeah, I think with that, with like any club, you can't give a manager full blown to get every player they want. I think Brennan Johnson, I don't know who identified him in the scouts or who identified what about his game was good, but you just have to look at it and say that there's nothing about him makes him an Ange winger. Now, I do think that you can find a use for Johnson, and whether it was with because he's not even a homegrown player, is he? He's not English, so he don't even count as part.
Yeah, it's a weird. We tried to figure this out. He's not. I don't think he's homegrown. He's home association.
Okay,
But
so
he was at Nottingham Forest, so yeah, there's something tricky there. He could be actually homegrown. So
if he's homegrown, then I feel like the move, because I know that's something we need to bring homegrown players in. So I don't know if that was a link for the move, and that was a reason why they're like, oh, we can make something of this. But otherwise, I look nothing at Johnson and say this is a player that we need. This summer, what we need to go do is identify players beforehand, for one, the profiles of players we want, and stick to that. Not say like last summer, we want an all action number 8, and then we got Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, and we're happy with our midfielders now. Neither of them are actually.
But then
makes no sense.
You could argue, yeah, that they went and identified Kinski or Kinski, and we don't know. But from what I've seen of the kid, yeah, like I'm quick to say that look, there's something there, because he's a maniac. He's actually a madman, and I like my actual goalkeepers to be maniacs. You know, all I need to see him now is start shouting at Romero and Mickey when they come back, and I'll be like, that's it. That's our starting goalkeeper. I want a mad person in goal that's gonna be telling man concentrate here, look there, and all that kind of stuff. So 21-year-old goalkeeper, Vicario's what 27. That area you can kind of set for the next 5-10 years, yeah. But stuff we've set ourselves back by at least possibly 2 seasons with what we've done on the wing. On the wings alone, and maybe not just the wings, but also.
Do you know the thing is though with that, I think what Spurs are hanging on, and this is where it goes wrong, where it could be good, it could be bad, is that they're hanging on to the fact that we've got a lot of young players in those positions. So when you look at the wing, you've got Odeberg, you've now got a Yang Min Hyuk, you've got like players that are all coming through that are set to be. I mean, Odeberg was signed to be one of the top stars. Like he was set to go to the next level and raise his game. And Moore is set to be that player. So Spurs are pretty much hanging on the fact that we've got these young wingers. They need to explode. But Ange isn't giving them the platform to explode necessarily. And I don't feel like he's playing in the way that's going to get the best out of these guys at times. And then when we see like even Mikey Moore, we could say that he brought him off because it was his first game back, and cool. Yeah. If that's the reason why it makes sense with Tamworth. But just as he's starting to heat up, that's when he brings him off. It's like, he's not starting to find his feet because he had a horrible first half. And then he found his feet a bit in 15 minutes and he has to get subbed. But go on, man.
I just want to say, so I think the winger signings have kind of been okay, just generally not to plan. Like I had high hopes for Odebear, and I'm all for the whole project thing. But whether you're Anjin or Angel, I do think people need to acknowledge he is probably as much of a win now manager as like Conte or Mourinho. Even you could even call it like wannabe win now, because he's not really won in like a top league, right? But I don't think he's a project type manager. And I don't think he's patient enough to give young players a chance unless he's forced to. And he's just too stubborn to compromise certain things unless he's like, again, forced to. So again, I'm more than happy for him to see out like the end of the season, but I just think it does need to be acknowledged by the wider fan base, who are probably still calling him a project manager because he plays a more aesthetically pleasing style of football.
Don't you think, Owen, you can't come out in the press conference, because I'm obviously like you, I'm Angel, I'm trying to give him the season and I'm all for it right now, but he does contradict himself a lot, and he comes out in the press conference and he says, I wanted young players. This was me. Like I like young players because they're more impressionable, they're more teachable, and all these things. So
yeah,
he is a project manager because that's what he wanted. He wanted all these young players. Like he asked for that. So
I think that it can be a very vague statement in the sense like, so you can sign young players who have come off like a lot of experience, for example.
Yeah.
Like a Kinski, who's had a lot of top level experience. Who else? Like Odebear, before we signed him, had 2 full seasons playing top flight, top leagues. Then you've got players being signed from the Swedish league and the Korean league, and I get it. Like you, ideally, like you need to give them time. So I think you can be young, but at least like if you've got yourself to a certain level, then by all means, it's still a really good signing. And I think this generation of footballers kind of aids a lot more towards young players, just purely because of the intensity, the physical intensity, and the fixture schedules. We've got more games than ever, and they're as intense as they've ever been. So you do need young players for that, but at the same time, you just need to get the balance right with experience tied into ability, I think. Like for example, I would actually be ecstatic if we signed Tyler Dibling in this window, who I think's got a decent amount of experience on this level, plays out on the right wing, but he's only 17. I think the best right winger in the world currently is still 17, right? So again, I don't think it's as much an age thing as it is
that's a big
an
comparison.
ability and experience thing.
Let's not do that.
That's so English of older, man. He was like, yeah, Tyler Dibling, your mom.
Yeah. I don't think that's where his ceiling is. I just wanted to use that as an example of like,
he does.
I hate that, but we have to acknowledge that Barcelona, like that's and I'm using. We don't have as Spurs, we don't have a system that has been ingrained into players or the club from young. Like the Spurs way, there is nobody in world football that's ever said, yeah, that style of football is Tottenham. The tiki-taka is Barcelona. The gegenpress is synonymous with like not only Klopp but also German style type football.
Yeah.
English football is pretty much remembered as Stoke, launch it, and all of that kind of stuff. We don't have an identity like that. So for people to be like, oh, yeah, the Tottenham way, I'm like, you need to relax with all of that nonsense. It's not kick and run. Those kick and run days are done. Of the 1969s, the 81s, those days are done. Yes, the club have changed, and they're starting investing in youth and building it in. So if it's ingrained from young all the way to senior level, then you can risk a Mikey Moore and all of those kind of players. That's why Mikey Moore is coming through now, because over the last two and a half seasons, literally the youth team have been playing the same way. It's just one particular way. But this club is incompetent, and they're gonna ruin it. Watch.
Everton preview. Who starts? Who gets rested?
Play the youth. It's Project Youth, bruv. play the kids.
Great in the 6 so bad, I'll be honest. I just want to see him in the 6. I feel like his composure on the ball and how good he's been at the back. I know playing obviously with the pitch in front of you at the back is a lot easier when you're on the ball. You have that composure because you can see the whole game. But I want to see him in the 6, man. I know probably this won't be the game where we get to see it. Hopefully in Europa League we do. But
did he play the 6 in pre-season? I don't remember if he did.
I don't think he did. I think he come on. He's played centre back, didn't he? Archie Gray. Even in pre-season, he had a few appearances at centre back.
Okay, so to be fair, I think Ben Davies is available again, so he could technically start, I think, and Archie Gray could move into midfield with Sarr. I want to see Porro, Kulusevski, and Solanke all rested.
No, I think Benzco's back in Europa League.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you just say?
I said Porro, Kulusevski, and Solanke all rested for Reguilon to come in. Spence Reguilon switch sides. Moore and Richarlison just start, keep it solid, and then just bring on Kulusevski and Solanke at the end. Porro as well. Maybe just keep on the bench, but all of these guys are fried. It's not even worth starting them anymore.
Wait. So Richard,
there's no way you want Reguilon playing. Oh my god!
No, forget
who else? Reguilon over this version of Porro? Yes.
I'm not even vexed with Reguilon.
100%. Reguilon against Everton as well. Come on.
I'm not even vexed against Reguilon starting. But I want to understand this. So our front three is going to be Johnson, Son, and Richarlison.
To be fair, that was last season, isn't it? That's what we played with last season. And to be fair, against Everton, Richarlison got a double.
Listen, that's fine. Yeah, you can argue Richarlison and all that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about the wide help. Yeah, it's still going to be Son and Johnson. Is that what you're saying as a potential ladder?
Son and no, I want Moore and John. Probably Mikey Moore to start, and then Son come off the bench. Son's fried as well. Son, Solanke, Kulusevski, Porro are all fried. So I don't know what else you want us to do. We can start all of these guys and lose anyway.
In that way of thinking, if that's the way of thinking we're going, and you're saying Davies is back, I'd go Kinski, Spence, Dragusin, dry guy, Davis, Reguilon, I hope Benton is back, but George is saying he's not. So I don't know if you could risk. Saar was poor, but you could try. Maybe Saar Berg. No, I'll go. This is how crazy I'd go because I'm done with the season. I'd go Gray, Bergvall, Madison, because he basically didn't play against Arsenal. Then I'd go Richarlison, Moore, and Yang.
Yeah, I'm not against that at all.
I think Moore should start. I think he's earned it, and to be honest, he's our best left winger, whether we like it or not. We've seen what happens when you throw Waneri in at Arsenal. You give him the platform and he explodes, and he's looking like literally one of the best youngsters in the Premier League right now. So I feel like Mike Moore needs to be given that opportunity out on the left because Sonny's just dead. Outside of that, I think I would go Kulu on the right. I think Madders needs to start this game. I don't think you can, as much as I don't rate how Madders has been, he does add a bit of control into that midfield on the ball. And I'll be honest, I'd drop Bissouma. I'm just done with seeing Bissouma.
Yeah. I think he's got a slight injury anyway.
Even better, Bergwall and Sarr in midfield together. And them two doing the double pivot. They to be fair, I think was it the Liverpool game them two done the double pivot together? Or was it no, not Liverpool? It was the Wolves. I think it might have been. I feel like it might have been Wolves. There was a game not too long ago that they done double pivot and it wasn't too bad.
I think you chuck Gray in. I'll go full young. I'll go Gray and Bergvall in the middle.
I think that Gray. To be honest, even if we have Ben Davies back, I'd throw Ben Davies in at left back. I'll be honest. I think you throw Ben Davies in at left back. You get sort of a more because Gray. If you have Gray next to him at centre back, then Ben Davies isn't going to bomb forward anyway. He hasn't got the legs to be doing that. He's not going to be asked to be doing the inverted role. So you're sort of playing with three centre backs or three limited players. And Ben Davies is probably going to cover that back line a bit more. So I feel like defensively we'll have a bit more stability.
Yeah, I think Andrew will get him to do something stupid and say it's who we are, mate. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That's an English thing to say. Well, I'm not even going to bother doing score predictions because I don't really have high expectations. I think I'm just trying to preserve the squad as best we can, our best players as best we can for games against like Hoffenheim and Liverpool, because that's where we are, mate. And what else can we do, guys? Obviously, thank you for joining me on the pod. Thank you to our concurrent 478 viewers. Means a lot. We're kind of a smaller podcast in the Tottenham space, but we're growing. We're growing slowly. So appreciate the views and the love and the comments from Adam J Spurs, Papa Blankson and Co. Shout out to you guys. And catch the streams on either a Thursday or Friday. We release the audio on the Saturday, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.